Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into a massive event in the cloud computing space, the April 2026 Vercel security incident. We're going to look way past the headlines to give you an urgent, completely factual breakdown of exactly what went down. If you're building on cloud platforms, and let's be real, who isn't? You absolutely need to understand the mechanics of this breach, its real-world impact, and the immediate steps you've got to take to lock down your own projects. So, let's get right into it.
Vercel has confirmed a security incident, but honestly, the real story here is much bigger. Now, I want to be super clear right out of the gate. This wasn't some total platform collapse. Vercel didn't just vanish off the face of the internet, but it is an absolute masterclass and a pretty harsh lesson in cloud security, how we manage secrets, and just how fragile trust can be in our interconnected tech stacks. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly how this happened, precisely what data was put at risk, and the non-negotiable steps development teams have to take right this second.
All right, Section 1, the chain of compromise or the trigger. To really wrap our heads around this breach, we have to trace it all the way back to the start. You see, this wasn't just some hacker guessing a password in a random one-off login attempt. No, this was a highly calculated domino effect. Step 1, the breach didn't actually start at Vercel at all. It kicked off with the compromise of a third-party AI service called Context.ai. From there, moving to Step 2, the attackers used that tiny initial foothold to get into a Vercel employee's Google Workspace account. And once they were inside that trusted environment, Step 3, they moved laterally, creeping deeper into Vercel's internal systems. It's a pretty sobering reminder, honestly. Your security perimeter is really only as strong as your weakest third-party vendor.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. What was actually exposed? The blast radius. Whenever a breach happens, panic instantly sets in, and rumors just start flying everywhere, right? So we need to stay strictly factual and focus on the precise target here. In this case, that target was environment variables. Think of these as the absolute keys to the kingdom. We're talking API keys, authentication tokens, database passwords, webhook secrets, signing keys, the whole shebang. If an attacker gets their hands on these, they don't just have access to your app. They literally have access to every single thing your app touches.
So back in April 2026, Vercel confirmed that the attacker was able to enumerate and decrypt what were labeled as non-sensitive environment variables. This impacted a subset of customer projects, and thankfully, there's absolutely zero evidence that any published NPM packages were compromised. But here is the incredibly dangerous nuance you've got to take away from this. Even if a platform labels a variable as non-sensitive, it becomes a massive, devastating vulnerability if your team accidentally stuffed important credentials in there. Because let's be honest, a label doesn't magically protect a database password if it's sitting in the wrong digital bucket.
Which brings us to Section 3, Fact versus Attacker Speculation. Time for a reality check.
In the middle of any major security incident, the sheer amount of noise can be deafening. We absolutely have to separate verified facts from unverified claims. On one hand, we have Vercel's confirmed facts, the decryption of those non-sensitive variables for a specific subset of users. On the other hand, we have unverified claims, public reports swirling around with the attacker asserting they stole a broad sweep of internal data. Vercel hasn't verified those broader claims. As professionals, we have to keep our credibility intact by anchoring ourselves to the data. The confirmed issue, the decryption of those variables, is incredibly serious all on its own. We really don't need to pile on unverified speculation to grasp how severe this situation is.
All right, Section 4, Action Plan for Developers. It's time for the cleanup.
So what do we actually do about all this? Well, first, let's look at Vercel's immediate mitigation strategy. They definitely didn't wait around. They brought in incident response experts right away and teamed up with external security partners. They also took the critical step of notifying law enforcement, directly contacted the impacted customers, and quickly published guidance for administrators to review their account and OAuth activity. Basically, they moved super fast to lock down the platform and support the admins on the front lines.
But here's where you come in. These are your operational marching orders, your immediate developer checklist. If you're running projects, you need to go in and rotate your API keys, your database credentials, webhook secrets, signing keys. Do it right now. You absolutely must review your recent deployments for anything that looks even slightly off. Check your activity logs for unfamiliar access. Make sure you turn on multi-factor authentication everywhere it's supported. Do a full audit of your third-party integrations and scrap any unused OAuth apps. And please properly mark your sensitive values. Stop storing critical secrets in weakly protected variables. Make your environment an incredibly hard target to hit.
Finally, Section 5, the real security lesson. Let's look at the big picture.
Zooming out, there's a massive industry-wide lesson staring us right in the face here. Cloud platforms are only as secure as the accounts, integrations, and permissions surrounding them. That is the fundamental truth of modern development. A compromise in just one single connected service, like a seemingly harmless third-party AI tool, can cascade instantly into a catastrophic internal breach. It absolutely proves that secret management just cannot be an afterthought anymore. It has to be a core security priority for every single developer and engineer from day one.
So I've got to ask you, directly, and I really want you to think about this. Have you audited who and what has access to your cloud platform today? When was the last time you actually checked which third-party apps have permissions to your workspace? Let this explainer be the exact prompt you need to fire up an immediate self-audit of your own system's third-party permissions. Seriously, don't wait to read about it in a headline to find out you had a glaring vulnerability.
It really boils down to this. The lesson from the Vercel breach is simple. Protect the accounts around your platform just as carefully as the platform itself. Identity compromise and third-party access can lead to completely devastating real-world exposure, even if the core platform itself is technically sound. Take this knowledge, share it with your team, fortify your environments, and start treating every single integration as a potential open doorway. Because at the end of the day, the question isn't just whether your own perimeter is secure. The real question is, how much trust are you blindly handing over to the service right next door?